October 7th, 2025, trade recap. Um, this is actually the trade from yesterday. This is the second video, second trade recap of the channel, even though, you know, October 8th, the first one, is a later day or earlier day than October 7th. But the reason why I'm uploading the second is because I already recorded the today, which is October 8th, trade recap. And I did say that that was the first video on the channel. And now I guess I'm kind of forced to make this the second video, which is okay. But um, this is yesterday's trade, or I'm doing a recap on yesterday's trade because I didn't actually journal or record yesterday's trade. And I do want to show this trade. Uh, Again, the main reason for me doing these trade recaps is mainly for myself, and it's mainly for me to journal. And I am very, very proud of yesterday's trade, right? So the trade recaps are for me to get better at trading, right? For me to see what I'm doing wrong and for me to analyze my trades and see what I could do better on the next day. But is to also see what I'm doing right and give myself that positive reinforcement when I do something right and when I trade very good, right? So it goes both ways. And I am extremely proud of yesterday's trade. I, won the trade, took profit, and I'm very, very, very proud of how I executed the trade, when I executed the trade, and things of that nature. So I want to give myself that positive reinforcement and actually make a video on yesterday's trade, show you, kind of explain what I did right, what I did good, maybe some things that I could have done differently, which, I mean, honestly, yesterday was a pretty goddamn perfect trading day, if I would have to say so. Um, Again, this is the second time me recording, or my second attempt of me recording this, because halfway through my last attempt, I noticed my mic on my trash headphones was up, and I knew that was gonna fuck with the audio. It was gonna mess with it completely, and it was gonna be you're gonna be unable to follow along. So might as well re-record it, make it better, make it right, so you can actually follow along. Okay. So going into the day, jumping straight into it on the 4 hour time frame. Yesterday, my bias was very, very bearish, right? Even though we were very close. Okay, and also to make things clear, right? Just to clarify things, these lines right here, these are the session breaks, right? So pretty much this maps out, these lines map out the different sessions we had, and this final line is market open for yesterday, right? Just because I know it gets a little confusing since we have price developed already more to the right from today. Makes it a little easier to follow along when you know what time market opened or where market opened. Okay. But again, very bearish yesterday, right? Even though we were at all-time highs, okay? And the general rule of thumb on all-time highs is bullish until proven guilty, okay? And that is true for the most part, but there is a few exceptions, and I will go over those exceptions today. Okay. Yesterday, it wasn't just, even though we were at all-time highs, it wasn't just slightly bearish, it was extremely bearish, okay? First and foremost, okay, the main reason is because we had so many low resistance draws on liquidity, bearish draws on liquidity, sell side liquidity for the day that we have not taken out yet. Okay. So many. Usually if we only had one low resistance or maybe no low resistance and only high resistance draws on liquidity, and we're near or at all-time highs, that would be bullish. Okay, but since first we had so many bearish draws on liquidity, low resistance draws on liquidity, and on top of that, we've been at all-time highs for a while now. I mean, you can see here, excuse me, all-time high, boom, not quite, made an all-time high, boom, new all-time high, new all-time high, new all-time high, new all-time high. Okay, we've been at all-time highs for a while. We're pretty overdue for a retrace. Okay, so looking at the 4-hour time frame, with that being said, there isn't really much to see on the 4-hour time frame, especially for NQ. There was a few draws on ES that I mapped out, and this is one of them. This is another, and then this is, I guess, also another. Okay, and then also as well as this one. Right, so we had 1, 2, 3, 4 draws on liquidity on the 4-hour time frame. Same thing on NQ. We had even less. Right, we had 1, 2 4-hour draws on liquidity. Okay, so not much to see over there besides mapping all-time highs out and mapping this very high resistance draw on liquidity. Now scaling into the 1-hour or down to the 1-hour time frame, here's where it gets very juicy, especially on NQ. And that's because we have so many low resistance draws on liquidity, right? We have one here, 1, 2, hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 low resistance draws on liquidity. Okay, that is a lot. And these are all low resistance just because they're stacked, right? They're very close to each other and they are stacked and they don't signify a very obvious low or high in the market. That's what makes a low resistance draw on liquidity. The only reason this is a high resistance draw on liquidity is because this is the final draw right here, right? This is the final draw on liquidity from this leg up. Okay, low resistance is the little points, little lows that we have throughout the leg up. Okay, mapping it out, right? We have Asia lows, we have London lows, and actually we made a little bit of an SMT here. Where is it? Right here. High time frame SMT, but I didn't necessarily, shoot. I didn't really take this SMT into consideration just because it was already completed, right? And it was pretty old, right? As you can see right here. Boom. Okay. Bearish or bullish SMT was completed via this sweep of liquidity right here. Okay. So we swept liquidity. SMT was completed. Okay. So we can get rid of that. With that being said, scaling down to the 5-minute time frame, here's where it actually gets interesting, right? Here's where I took my trade. Now, coming into pre-market, which is right here, 8:30. During pre-market, we take out all-time highs, which is a high resistance draw on liquidity, right over here, okay? We take this out during pre-market. Since we took it out during pre-market, during market open, I'm not really looking for manipulation, or at least high time frame manipulation. Okay, we already manipulated during pre-market. Okay, so during market open, what I'm looking for is a continuation of that manipulation, right? which we actually see here. So what do? We come up, we take out these all-time highs. From there, we shoot down, doing two things. First of all, breaking 5-minute bearish order flow, turning it into bullish, or other way around, breaking 5-minute bullish order flow, turning it into bearish by invalidating these fair value gaps, 5-minute fair value gaps right here. And you can see this via the close of this candle right here. Okay, close below both of these. From there, that signifies that we are in bearish 5-minute order flow. From there, we create a bearish 5-minute fair value gap. Okay. And I'm looking for a few things. Okay. From here. Number one, I'm looking for a retracement of this 5-minute fair value gap, which we actually see as soon as market opens, pretty much. Okay. Now you'd say, oh, look, we tapped into this gap, rejected off of it, or let's say you're a little more knowledgeable than that, right? We tapped into this gap and we broke 1-minute structure. So we're officially in bearish 1-minute structure. Why didn't you answer right here? Okay. The reason being is because we were outside of my macro. Okay. And I talked about this in the last video. My macro, which I got from TJR, is from 9:50 to 10:30. So what a macro is the optimal trading window for continuation. Okay. That's usually when the continuation or the move for the day happens, or at least one of the first moves for the day. During 9:30 to 9:50, that's usually when manipulation happens. Okay. Now, we already saw manipulation in pre-market. So I wasn't necessarily looking for manipulation, but I still wanted to wait for that macro to open, just in case. You know, you never know. Maybe we manipulate even more. Maybe we take out these highs, make yet again new all-time highs, and then we continue with the move down. It's just price is very unpredictable and uncertain during that time. So I wanted to wait up a little bit. And again, I'm focused on NQ just because we had much more low resistance draws on liquidity compared to ES. Okay. From there, what do we do? As soon as macro opened, oh my God, sorry. As soon as macro opened, which is right here, okay, we're not really doing much. Sure, we're in bearish order flow, but we're still hanging around this range right here. And this was kind of a big deal, especially for me at the time. What price looked like within this time frame. Actually, no, it was more like right here, from market open to the macro, okay, or even past it, I guess you could call it, right here. If you zoom in on this, this looks garbage. You would think, oh my God, price is going to be absolutely trash for today. We're not going to get any move. It's just going to be consolidation the whole day. And that actually affected my trade in a way, which I'll get into in a little bit. But yeah, this did not look great. You know, it's a lot of chop. Nothing really clear happening. Okay. But as soon as macro open, I still stayed on the charts. Right? I usually stay on the charts until 9:30, or at least monitor the charts until, sorry, not 9:30, 10:30. For two reasons. One, just in case something happens and a trade appears, right? A setup forms that I like, which is what happened yesterday. Or two is to just observe the market. Okay. More chart time you have, the more you see how the market moves live, the more familiar you would be with it, the better you will be at predicting it, essentially, right? Now, what happens as soon as the macro opens, right? We get this leg up, back up into this 5-minute fair value gap, but we don't actually end up disrespecting the gap, right? We get this leg up, we form a 1-minute gap right here. But as you can see, we don't actually close up above this gap. Okay, we never close up above this gap. We don't disrespect it at all within this whole time window, right? Time frame. So macro is opened. We make this 1-minute bullish fair value gap. We tap into the 5-minute gap. From there, we come down and we actually invalidate this 1-minute gap by closing below it, signifying a change of order flow on the 1-minute time frame, a bearish change of order flow. Okay. Now, so far, what do we have? We have a very, very bearish bias, right? We have a sweep of a high time frame liquidity. We have a change of order flow on the 5-minute time frame, on a higher time frame. And we have a higher time frame fair value gap or higher time frame retracement, in this case a 5-minute retracement, happen. And finally we get a macro. The macro opens up, where we go into the macro and we break order flow on the 1-minute time frame to the downside. From there, no brainer, actually not necessarily no brainer, but I do enter shorts, having stops over here right at these highs, which are pretty much the highest highs after this high right here that we made, the all-time high. Okay, I could have had stops right here, honestly, but because of the way price was looking, I mean, it's a double-edged sword. Because of the way price looked, it could have been a good idea to have stops higher just to give your trade a little bit more breathing room, but it also could have been a better idea to have stops lower for risk management. You could do either or. For some reason, I can't explain to you exactly why, but I decided to have my stops a little lower to preserve capital. And from there, I targeted these relatively equal hourly lows. Now, I didn't actually take my take profit all the way down to these lows. And the reason being is, I guess, kind of like a just in case, right? Just in case price came close to it but didn't actually end up sweeping, which just happened to me in the past, where you would get edged by literally a point or two, sometimes even a tick, I kid you not, and you would create an SMT, or you would reverse, or whatever the case may be. I'm okay with not getting the extra, what is that, 5 points. I'm okay with missing out on an extra 5 points if that gives me a higher probability of me hitting my take profit for the day. And the trade played out perfectly. We did go into drawdown a little bit right here, but I wasn't too concerned with it, right? Take profit 1 was right at this low resistance liquidity right here, this hourly liquidity. After that, stops went to break even, and literally immediately after taking out TP1, we hit full TP. 3 minutes later, right? Not even. Now, I know I said this price action, this little section of price action during market open until my macro did influence my trade in a way, and you might be like, okay, how did it influence your trade? You still had extremely long take profits, right? Sniper ass take profits. And the way it influences my trade is I didn't go in with the what's the word I'm looking for? With full leverage, right? I de-risked on this trade. And honestly, as much as you're like, oh man, I wish I didn't de-risk. Man, I wish I went in with full size for my account, full leverage, not over leverage, but full leverage. This was an A plus setup, blah 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 blah. I'm glad I did that, right? Because that's nothing but risk management. Because you never know, right? I didn't see price up until this point, right? This is all I saw. Hold on. This is all I saw when I entered the trade. And it's nothing but a bunch of chop. Even though we were very bearish on the day, I still wanted to take shorts. I still wanted to have these sniper TPs. And I honestly could have had my TP even lower. I just chose not to. And again, the only reason I chose not to is because price action was honestly not looking too great in the beginning, right? Beginning portion of market open, which is okay, which is fine. I could have, and I don't regret that at all, honestly. I would have much rather had take my profit, take whatever I can, have peace of mind during the trade, right? Than to be worried and stressing, oh, there's a high chance, or in my mind, there was a pretty good chance that I would get stopped out that day. In my mind, I knew, or I had a feeling, a very strong bearish bias, but I knew that there was a chance that price wouldn't actually go all the way down to here. It would eventually, but maybe it wanted to manipulate a little more. Maybe it wanted to sweep out this high time frame liquidity again, right? Maybe it would wanted to sweep out these 5-minute highs, right? You never know. So I ended up de-risking a little bit, and the reason why I didn't have these my take profit extended all the way down to here, maybe even here, which was kind of right here. This last line was the final low resistance drawn liquidity right here, which, looking at price again, that market open price action really influenced it. I knew it wanted to get taken, but I don't know. I didn't know if price had the momentum or the volatility and volume to take it out today, right? Or at least without another manipulation, which it did. And a lot of times I would have extended my take profit, right? Not on no greedy shit, purely logically. But the reason why I didn't extend my take profit is because even on the way down, I mean, look at this. Price was super slow, right? I mean, it was choppy, it was slow, it wasn't a downtrend, but it just wasn't very confidence inspiring. Now, as soon as that happened, as soon as we hit TP1, we shot straight down, but I didn't have enough time to react and move my take profit lower by the time, before we hit final take profit, which was right here. If price looked more like this, oh shoot, if price looked more like this throughout the rest of the trade, right? Yeah, sure, I would have extended my take profit. We had a good amount of volume, we had good momentum, good volatility. Why not, right? But having price that looks like this and like this, it's just very discouraging, right? So I did so many things great. I waited for my macro. I waited for a full setup to form. I de-risked because it looked choppy. Price didn't look the best, so I still de-risked, even though it was an A+ setup. There isn't much that I did wrong, or if anything at all today. I did everything very good. Maybe one thing I could have done differently. Maybe trusted my setup a little more. I am coming back from a little bit of a losing streak here for the past or last week. I think Friday and Thursday. Not entirely sure, but I believe Friday and Thursday were losing days. I reset the account. So, again, I'm not entirely sure. But fresh account, there's just perfect trades here. Very proud of myself. But yeah, that concludes today's video. Today's trade recap, or yesterday's trade recap, technically. Hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. And I am going to stay true to my word, and I will try to upload that more like vlog style video a little later on today. Or if not, at least record it. But yeah, that's about it. That's all I have for you guys today. Take it easy.